right, go ahead.
Welcome to Pound for Pound ATL live once again, man. Hey, look, you guys can get this in audio form just in case, man, you might have missed something. You want to go back. You're welcome to download it. Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, all of those great things. Soon we'll be available on iTunes. But it's time to get into it, JR. Once again, we're back at another loss, huh?
Yeah, we're back at another loss in an embarrassing fashion at that. So, I mean, where do we go from here, right? I mean, I guess the only thing you can do is go up, right?
Well, that's what they say.
Okay, so let's just get into it. You had the most embarrassing loss, in my opinion, short of the Super Bowl, and the Dan Quinn era for sure. You gave up 47 points, 53 if you throw in the
interception by Matt Ryan.
Yeah, at the end of the game there. So you give up 53 points. So the first time, I think it's only 7 times in the history of this franchise that we've given up that many points. Yeah,
Andrew Siciliano actually put it up there. It's been a long time, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was quite ridiculous on that aspect. So that's never good. That's never encouraging. That's not what you want to see. And to have a no-name guy, in a sense, wide receiver, with Kiki QT, talking about they felt like they could go off because of the scheme.
Right.
That's something that I keyed in on, not because of what he said, but the fact that he said it.
Yeah.
In a league where nobody says anything, you know what I'm saying? Everything is all general talk all the time. For him to feel comfortable enough saying that to the media speaks volumes to me about what this team is right now.
Yeah, and they just love they started a little trend now with Deshaun Watson explaining the defenses he's facing. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Started off with the Carolina Panthers, where he asked one of the beat writers, do you know what it was, what coverage they were playing in? And now he's gotten comfortable explaining it. And he did it again about our Atlanta Falcons defense.
Yeah. I mean, he might as well said, I ain't seen this defenses like this since I played in high school. Because I feel like that's what we're running out there, is some high school defense.
Well, that's a pretty sad thing to say right there, JR. But I mean, it to me, that's exactly what it's looking like to me as well. It's definitely not what many of us as fans depicted when Dan Quinn took over this defense. That's for sure.
No, it's not. I mean, I put out a video in this offseason talking about how I felt like Dan Quinn was going to actually be more exotic with his looks, and that's what this whole 5-2-4 business was going to be, was to give him a chance to be, to take, give different looks, things that these offenses aren't used to seeing. But man, I couldn't have been more wrong. It seems like he's lining it up in the most simplest scheme humanly possible and counting on his players to flawlessly execute every time.
Well, I mean, Earl Thomas explained the best about this defense. He also mentioned that this defense is simple. You take a few things, you perfect that,
right,
and you play it to match up against just about anything that you're going to see on offense. And what is leading me to believe, JR, and many can agree or not agree, is I believe we have the talent. Not for 1 second am I doubting that, but I'm starting to doubt that we have the personnel to fit what we want to do on this defense.
Right. No, I agree 100%. I agree completely. We got the talent. I mean, you got it in the defensive line. Okay? Grady Jarrett has been playing really well.
Oh, he's
this
balling.
Whole season.
He's been balling.
Alan Bailey playing really good.
Oh, yeah, and they've been moving him around this week. They moved him around just like Michael Bennett.
Right.
In that Michael Bennett role.
Exactly. Tyler Davidson. Yeah. Playing really well at nose tackle. Now, past that, what are you doing with the pass rush? Everybody wants to, like this whole week, I've seen nothing but a ton of complaints about about Vic Beasley not showing up in the stat sheet. Well, at that point, especially this week, he wasn't really even rushing the passer. Most of the time, he was being used as either in coverage or as a spy for Deshaun Watson. So basically, he's just standing there.
And of course, you already know that the Vic Beasley bashers have resurfaced.
Oh, of course.
The man didn't show up on the stat sheet at all this game.
No, he didn't. And I'm not even sitting here trying to defend the fact that he didn't show up on the stat sheet. But what I'm saying is that he's not being deployed in any way that I thought he might be deployed this season.
This whole defense, to me, is not being used in a fashion that I thought that they would succeed in. And you and I spoke about this last week. One of the things Arthur Blank said that he was looking for in a guy that can develop players and put them in positions to succeed.
Right.
And since Dan Quinn has taken over this defense, I would have to lean heavily and say that he hasn't been successful in doing that thus far.
No. I mean, you got a real good year out of Deion Jones. A couple good years out of Deion Jones. And I don't know if Deion Jones is fully trusting his body yet, because a lot of times when these players come back from season-ending injuries or season-long ailing injuries, it takes them a little while to get back to trusting their ability. But, he doesn't look the same at all. Like he's not as clean in coverage as he has been. You haven't been able to develop a cornerback yet. Now, granted, Jalen Collins PED'd and smoked himself out of the league, or at least off of our team. But Isaiah Oliver is still looking lost 5 weeks in. And I knew we were going to take some lumps. I didn't know we were going to take some beatings.
Yeah.
I mean, we're taking some beatings with him, not just necessarily lumps. So that's, one thing. And outside of Grady Jarrett, who I think is succeeding on his own regardless. I mean, he was taken in, the 5th round?
Yeah.
That means nobody thought he was going to be a success. We took him as a flyer, basically. And so he's succeeding on his own merits. But you haven't been able to develop Takk McKinley.
Nope.
You haven't been able to develop Vic Beasley to anything at this point. I know a lot of people think I'm some kind of Vic Beasley supporter or whatever, but I'm just talking about he is not living up to his draft status at all.
At all. 8th overall pick.
Yeah.
2015. Not living up to it. And I'm going to tell you, man, looks like Takk, early signs, he's going to be cutting those dreads off.
Yeah.
If he really meant what he said.
I highly doubt that. But so as far as developing players goes, he's not doing what you hoped he would do. Ultimately, I feel like that's what got Mike Smith was the lack of development on the player front, and I think that may end up getting Quinn. Obviously, the horrible season is going to end up getting Quinn.
And what happens to Jack Crawford?
I mean, come on. Thank you.
6 sacks last year, had a pretty good season. That's why I believe that this team is regressing because of the scheme.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's holding them back at this point. Let me ask you this question, and the folks who are in chat can answer as well. If anybody other than Dan Quinn was calling plays, do you think they'd still be calling plays right now? I mean, in 2016, he took play calling duty away from Richard Smith after the Kansas City game,
yes,
right?
He did.
And obviously because he didn't feel like we were playing how we could play. Well, 5 games in, we ain't playing worth a damn.
We're worse.
We're worse than we were in 2016.
And I'm wondering if Marquand Manuel is sitting on his porch with some nice, fresh, cold lemonade.
Fresh, cold something.
And laughing right now.
I would imagine that he is probably very much laughing. Chuckling and now I'm really starting to wonder if what we got in 2017 from Marquand Manuel was what this defense should look like. Now, hear me out when I went down this particular rabbit hole in my own brain this week as I was after this game. Have we all overestimated Dan Quinn as a coach? The reason why I say that, okay, look. What I'm talking about, and the reason why I say that is in Seattle, he had elite players across the board.
Right.
Okay. So now, if you look at Seattle now, they don't have as many elite players, and they've changed their scheme. Their scheme has adapted.
Right.
Okay?
They have.
When he got in 2017, you essentially had elite players across the board here. You know, you had Deion Jones making amazing plays, Grady Jarrett. You know, you had all these guys doing it, right?
Right.
2018, your elite players went down. So I guess what I'm asking is this scheme elite dependent?
Here's my answer to that. We got to remember this is not just Dan Quinn's defense. This is Pete Carroll's defense too.
That's what I'm saying.
And both of these guys learned under, if I'm not mistaken, Bill McPherson, who used to be the defensive coordinator with the 49ers. They learned a lot of what they do from him.
Right.
Okay. There's an article out on that, and I may put that article down in the description so you guys can read it. I think I did put it on an article before. So him and Pete Carroll built that defense over there with the Seattle Seahawks. And I'm thinking Dan Quinn maybe have gotten in over his head as far as the personnel fitting because he seems to be missing some ingredients to getting that defense to really work in the way that it should. Because like I told you before, when Earl Thomas went to the Ravens, they asked him how different is the defense he's in now with the Ravens compared to the Seattle defense. And he said they didn't do a lot there. They just took a few things, and perfected that. Unfortunately, this team is not able to grasp onto it, or either they're just not feeling what Dan Quinn is bringing to the table.
Yeah. I mean, it's something of that nature. Let's I'm going to take a few minutes, go ahead and take some comments. We got a lot of comments coming in.
Go for it.
So I always appreciate y'all's comments. Brandon Levy, Ryan did throw a pick six. Yes, you're right. He did throw a pick six. That's how we got the 50 burger. But I almost don't hold that over his head because that's garbage time at that point. Let's see. Brandon also said Tack ain't been playing well. He's invisible. Up until this game, he picked the worst game to go invisible. A game where he probably could have eaten Deshaun Watson alive because of their offensive line. He decides this game to go invisible, which is untimely. Let's see. I'm trying to get somebody other. Tasman said, Toby Jr., how do y'all feel that the Falcons is a disappointment and a laughing joke of the NFL?
Well, that they are.
Yeah,
indeed.
that they are for sure. I mean, right now, you can look, if any of y'all venture on Twitter much at all, you have seen that right now we are the laughing stock. It's a toss-up between us and Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
As far as social media and timelines go. Because, I mean, Brian Baldinger 2 weeks in a row did his Baldy breakdowns on how bad our defense is. The whole time he's been doing those, I ain't never seen him pick 2 weeks in a row the same team and the same side of the ball. Because
we're that team to pick.
Yeah.
When you got other players in the league talking about our team, Ron Parker, who didn't make the cut last year with the Atlanta Falcons, a guy that we wanted in 2016, but he decided to go in another direction, I believe, to Chicago. He comes out and says any offense in the league can do damage to the Falcons defense right now. Somebody has got to be on the hot seat because of that. And when you got other teams coming out and saying things like that about your team, and I said this before on the video before, we had to be careful not to become other teams and coaches' trophy team. And that is exactly what we are becoming.
Yep.
We have become that trophy team, got all the talent, got 3 former head coaches, 1 current head coach, and we are getting blasted out of the water now.
Yeah, exactly. And it's ultimately embarrassing on week in and week out. I mean, I know those guys up there, to think that they're not frustrated is crazy. So the folks who like to, tag players in tweets, I mean, y'all do you, but to think that they don't realize what's going on that's crazy to me. Of course they know, of course they're frustrated, and of course they know what's going on. Ricardo Allen himself said if he knew how to fix it, they'd have more wins.
I'm glad you mentioned Ricardo Allen.
Yeah.
Because when Kelsey Conway asked Ricardo, were they all bit surprised about what Will Fuller was doing? He comes out and says no, because the coaches prepared us for all of those looks that they gave us, and yet we could not stop.
No, couldn't stop them. So
period.
I mean, was it okay? If you're getting prepared for those looks, is it just bad play calling at that point? Or are you just calling the wrong plays at the wrong time? Is that what it is? Because I can't. It's hard for me to understand that if you are being prepared for those looks by the coaches, and you're having such good weeks of practice and all this stuff, why is it not translating out on the field on game day?
Listen, man, the Pete Carroll way, win forever, doesn't work for everyone. And I think since after that Super Bowl, that message of Dan Quinn, this tell the truth Mondays, turnover Thursdays, all of that stuff right now is a full of crap. Excuse me.
Yeah, I mean that's about. That I agree completely. That's all turned into coach speak. Matty Ghost, appreciate that there. That's awesome. It says Quinn is thinking in terms of video games, plug and play. He wants all his players to have speed of 99. Yeah, you're right about that. Yeah, he thinks all his, he thinks speed conquers all. Now, don't get me wrong, you can't teach speed. I believe in that wholeheartedly, but you also, can scheme success too.
And I'm glad y'all mentioned that. Because I've been watching the all 22. And look, I'm not the best pro. I don't know everything about breaking down film, but this defense looks anything but fast and physical. I've been watching that team on the all 22, and they look just about as slow can get. Yeah,
they look slow and confused. They don't look fast and physical.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I'm wondering if, first of all, if we go in and make Cliff Kingsbury and Kyler Murray look like the second coming of Steve Young and Jerry Rice. I was trying to use Steve Young because he scrambles around.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
I feel you.
All right.
Keep going.
I was making sure my analogy wasn't falling flat. Anyway, look, if they make them look like geniuses, can we leave Quinn in Arizona along with Cutter and everybody else?
Okay, listen. I know I jumped on the train last week about getting rid of Quinn, but Arthur Blank Von McClure hurried up and asked Arthur Blank how he felt about possibly making coaching changes. And what did he say? What did Arthur say?
He said he didn't want to make no changes. He didn't think that was the right answer, and that they felt like they had the players, they just needed to play.
Exactly. And he was in full support of Dan Quinn. Right. And I want to talk about my theory on why I believe that.
Okay, what you got?
Now, we know Dan Quinn's history of struggling with AFC teams, period.
Yeah,
and that continued with the 3 straight teams that we lost against. But one of the things that Dan has shown is that he can beat division opponents.
True.
Now, we got the division coming up in the second half of the season, right?
Okay, yeah.
6 out of our last 8 games are against division opponents. We're 6-2 against the Panthers since Dan Quinn has been here. 5-3 against Tampa Bay Bucks since Dan Quinn has been here, and 4-4, unfortunately, against the New Orleans Saints.
Right.
Okay, what that make us? 16-9 in the division, right?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, so I believe what Arthur Blank's hope is, if we can at least win a couple of these games out of the next 3 we got against Arizona, the Rams, and the Seattle Seahawks, at least a couple. Okay. Now, we're not going to be at 500, of course, going into our week 9 bye?
Right.
But this at least puts us in position to, when we get to the division where we played very well, this could give us some hope and to possibly making a run to the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, but, okay, I got you on giving some hope, but is there any hope in your mind that we're going to beat either the Rams or Seattle?
No and no.
I mean, right now, I barely got any hope that we're going to beat the Cardinals.
Well, I kind of take that back.
Okay, what you got?
A lot of people aren't talking about the Rams right now, but the Rams have struggled the last 2 games.
Yeah,
now, they've scored a lot of points, but their defense has given up a lot of points, too. True. They lost against the Bucks, and just recently they lost against the Seattle Seahawks, so they've lost 2 in a row.
True.
The Falcons have lost 3 in a row.
Very
albeit true. To all 3 AFC South teams. So we may have a chance because of their defensive struggles against the Rams to win that game here.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. The Rams, Brandon just said the Rams are beatable. And, yeah, they are. I mean, Jared Goff is showing some mortal tendencies. And same thing with Sean McVay. Let's see. Nature Born said, it's like the defense is one step behind the offense we face. Yeah, that's what it feels like. I mean, it feels like we're constantly one step behind. Jimmy Wright says, last three teams games we played all struggled until they played us. Yeah. Oh yeah, we're squarely in that. We're everybody's cure right now.
Oh yeah. Well, we've definitely helped out the AFC South.
Yeah. We've helped out their average.
Yeah, we helped the Colts out. They became 2-1. We helped out Tennessee Titans, who broke even with 500, 2-2, and now we've helped out the Texans at 3-2.
Yep. Yeah. No, I agree completely. Now, I will say this though, Indy did go into the Chiefs and beat them.
Yes, they did.
And they beat them in a lot of ways that they beat us.
But what did you say about their coach?
Yeah, he's a good coach.
Yeah.
I like Frank Reich a lot.
If you're taking Jacoby Brissett after Andrew Luck has stepped down and you're still winning games,
yeah.
I.e. also the Saints, what Sean Payton's doing with Teddy Bridgewater, i.e. right now what the Panthers are doing without Cam Newton.
Yeah, Norv Turner got Kyle Allen looking pretty good.
Yeah, Christian McCaffrey is killing it right now, right?
He is. So, yeah, Just Johnson says no player can request player can request Quinn after the Super Bowl. I don't know about that. That one, I agree that's been a sentiment going around that after the Super Bowl they lost respect. I don't think it was after the Super Bowl. I think somebody said it. Who was it that said about firing? It was Sean Weatherspoon. Said on Twitter, having confidence after firing all your coordinators.
Yeah, and
I think that move right there is what, if respect has been lost by the players for Quinn, I think it was the move of firing everybody.
In my honest opinion, I believe that is what's going on with this Falcons team right now. Their lack of trust in Dan Quinn. You got to remember, Dan Quinn has changed coaches within the last 3 years after being removed from the Super Bowl.
Exactly. Yeah, every time.
That's a lot of coaching changes.
That is a ton of coaching changes. Now, one, like Shanahan obviously wasn't his deal. You wasn't going to keep Shanahan.
No.
He was already, even after, before he became the OC here, there was buzz that he was going to, get some head coaching interviews. And it cooled off a little bit his first year here. And then, of course, obviously ramped way back up with what we did in 2016. So you weren't going to keep Shanahan. So that one I don't put on him. But hiring Sarkisian was an interesting move, a move that ultimately didn't work out. I've seen a lot of buzz on Twitter saying, we should have just kept Sarkisian. How soon y'all forget, Sarkisian wasn't succeeding against top-rate defenses at all. Like even higher than an average defenses, especially that stretch where last year we lost 5 in a row. And in those 5, I don't think we put up over 21 points.
Listen, y'all, Steve Sarkisian got marked by the Eagles.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yep.
You lost against the Eagles trying to win that game in the playoffs.
Yep.
And you lost against the Eagles again the same way.
The exact same way.
Trying to win the first game of the season.
They put a blueprint out on how to stop him. So with that being said, this is where I have a theory. This is just, all right, now y'all, straight up and down, this is just a JR theory, okay? I don't think Quinn wanted to hire Cutter or Malarkey. And I think that's why if this flames out and goes south, I think that's why it will be a complete clean out. Because I think Malarkey and Cutter came from Dimitrov. I think Dimitrov convinced Blank that, hey, if we just bring these guys back, these guys have familiarity with our team, with Matt and with Julio, and they won't be as much of an adjustment period. Because you want to sit here and honestly tell me, like what you just told me about Quinn going against this division. Mm-hmm. Okay, so how many times has he beat Tampa?
5 times, 5 out of 3.
Okay.
5. He's 5-3 against Tampa Bay.
Okay, so 5 times he's beat Tampa.
Mm-hmm.
5 times he's seen Dirk Hunter's offense. 5 times he's stopped them.
Yeah.
Why do you think he would want that coach? You know why? When he got hired here and brought Shanahan here, the reason why he said he wanted Shanahan because of the West Coast offense with the outside zone run scheme that he said was a nightmare to defend.
Right. And it's been anything but a nightmare this time around. So, this nightmare, I can actually survive and stay asleep in it. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, no, you're right.
I'm just being honest.
mean,
right now, like I said, the only thing that's giving me hope is that if we can steal away a couple of games before the bye and go into the 6 games we got to play out of the last 8, okay, within our division, I'm believing because Dan Quinn has a strong record in our division, we should be able to do something.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, look, like I said last week, and I'll say again this week, it starts this week. You know, if you can get a win against the Cardinals and start building some confidence again, I see you there, Rose Stockton, man. I appreciate that. I mean, I just call it like I see it on that. But anyway, if you pull a win out, start building some confidence, we can take some positives from last week. You did score 31 points.
Yeah.
Okay. You got some stuff going. Now, granted, you were still playing from behind, so the run game wasn't much, but this was the first week that we didn't have an offensive lineman go down during the game.
You know what? JR, I'm so glad you mentioned about the run game.
Right.
You know Dan Quinn is talking about possibly making some personnel changes. Is it time? People have asked this question. But would you say it is time to now give Ito Smith some more ball carries?
I think it is. I mean, you know, we all love Devontae. And I know I saw last night where people were saying that we should have kept Coleman and cut Devontae. The money wasn't going to work on that.
No.
So, but anyway, even if it did, there's nothing that makes me think that Coleman behind this offensive line with Dirk Cutter would have succeeded either. Okay? Coleman is succeeding because Shanahan knows how to use Coleman.
Yeah.
I mean, just point blank. That's just, he drafted Coleman because he was a one cut and go. Mm-hmm. And this style, the style that he runs is a one cut and go style. So it fits Coleman perfectly. Soon as Cutter gets here, he gets rid of some of the smaller offensive line and starts beefing up for more of a power run game.
And I think that was more of an influence by Mike Mularkey.
Correct. You are 100% correct there. So more of a run game, you know, more of a power run game was what they're trying to go for. Mm-hmm. And, you know, Coleman, he may have done all right there, but I just, you know, I just, there's nothing that he showed me last year that made me think that we should just give him the reins. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's just that. But, man, I lost my train of thought. Boy, I was rolling down the tracks there. Anyway,
on this run game.
Oh, yeah, on the run game. But what I want to see at this junction, if we're going to go ahead and say we're going to go ahead and cut Coleman at the end, or not Coleman, Freeman at the end of this year, you know, contract-wise, non-productive, whatever, can we see what we got in Brian Hill and Quadre Olson? Can we see what we got as Ito as the lead back?
I just don't know if we're going to get to see that with this current regime, JR.
No, I don't know. I mean, I don't understand why we kept so many damn running backs if we ain't going to use them. Why?
I don't understand why Dan Quinn keeps going back on everything that he says. And I think this is another reason that adds insult to injury about you keep being double-minded about the things that you're going to do and the decisions that you're going to make. I.e., now you're talking about making personnel changes, bringing Kendall Sheffield in more, and possibly, you know, substituting him out with Isaiah Oliver and stuff like this. You the one that said that you believed in Isaiah Oliver and you knew what he was when you drafted him.
Yeah, exactly.
Now we're not seeing anything about what he is.
No, we're seeing that he got benched for a little while, it seemed like, in the Texans game. So, I mean, I don't know. I'm coming to the conclusion that Dan Quinn realized that without this, you know, extreme elite athletes, his scheme didn't work, and he can't adjust. He's trying to adjust, but I guess he's realizing that he can't, and that sucks. It makes me frustrated.
You know what, man? It's really about the saddest thing for me, just hearing you talk about it.
I mean,
because I just don't know if we're going to find any answers that's going to be able to help us. I just don't. I mean, I'm going to watch my team all the way through and see where this goes. And maybe Dan can figure out how to turn it around to get the right trigger words to get this team going.
I'm not so much worried about his trigger words or worried about his daggum whatever slogan he wants to use for this week, backing each other or whatever it is. What I'm more concerned about is let's find some effective play calling. Because what you're calling right now isn't working. And he was asked, was he ready or willing to give up play calling duty? And he said if he thought that was the best answer, that he'd do it. So that tells me he doesn't think that's the best answer.
Well, who is he giving it to? Jeff Albert?
I mean, somebody.
I mean, you got Raheem Morris on the offensive side of the ball.
True. Can we give it to Bob Sutton?
Hell no. I'm sorry. The hell had to come out. And I ain't holding that back. No. That's why Bob Sutton is over here.
Yeah. That's why he got ran out of Kansas City. Well, somebody needs to run him out of Atlanta because he's got too much sway right now. At least it looks like he's got too much sway.
I mean, like I say, and I've heard someone ask another Falcons content creator this.
Yeah.
Do they feel Bob Sutton is kind of having his way with giving Dan Quinn the advice on what to do with his defense? And I truly hope that is not the case.
I hope not. But it looks like it. I mean, because dude, I saw more creativity in the preseason than I have this season. Like, I'm not seeing, look, y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Because, I mean, sometimes I get pissed off and walk away from the TV. Yeah. But y'all correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not seeing any stunts. Hardly any twists.
We're not doing that this year.
That was one of the calling cards of Dan Quinn, was that he was an extremely effective blitzer.
And like he
didn't blitz all the time, but he was effective when he blitzed.
Even the stunts.
Yeah.
We was good at that. But I heard he was asked about going back to some of the things that they used to do.
Right.
And he confirmed that is a possibility of them going back to some of the basic things that they were doing in his defense in the past.
I mean, I hope that's what they do.
Right now, man, you just don't really have a choice, man.
No.
You don't have a choice.
Matty Ghost, again, appreciate that. And Anthony, we'll get both y'all's requests there. Says Dimitroff runs Atlanta. Dimitroff runs Atlanta. And Quinn just says, yes, sir, to everything. Dirk Cutter is still trapped in Rich Gannon's 1988 with this offense. Oh, my God. Look at you, spitting fire over there, Matt. Spitting fire. I mean, yeah, it seems like that as far as that goes. It seems like, at least with this offensive hire, I feel like this is more of a Dimitroff. That's why I feel like if it continues going south, they both got to go at this point. Anthony Wright says, JRC and Toby, both of you are class act professionals. What do you do in providing this platform for Atlanta Falcons fans? Keep doing what you're doing. Appreciate that, Anthony. I don't know if I consider we're fans. Both of us are just fans. We started doing this because we felt like we weren't getting the love, the respect, whatever you want to call it, from either local media and definitely not national media. But it's definitely morphed into more, and we're trying to be, as professional as we can be. But yeah, at the end of the day, we're just fans, like y'all.
What we enjoy is you guys' enthusiasm, despite all the things that is going on with this team right now. And that's what's more exciting. And we appreciate everything you guys are doing, man.
We thank y'all a lot. I mean, the fact that y'all are showing up here on Tuesdays to listen to me and Toby talk about this team that is an ultimate disappointment right now is amazing to me. I had a guy at work tell me, he said, man, you picked a hell of a year to start doing this live streaming stuff. I said, I said, well, what do you do, right? I mean, you can only talk about what they present. And
I just started in a new job, man, and it's a lot of Falcons fans there.
Yeah, I bet you. I wonder if they as mad as we are.
It's some that have revealed that they're not watching the games because of what's happening.
Oh yeah, I don't doubt it. I mean,
so
I got guys in my office. That. Yeah, I got guys in my office that won't even turn it on. They'll look at the score afterwards and just shake their head. And there's a guy down at a materials yard we use, Capital Materials, that he come driving up to me on Friday before this game. I can't even imagine what he's going to do afterwards. And he drove up to me in his forklift, and I'm in my truck, right? And he just drives up and looks over at me. I look at him, and he just drives off. He didn't even say nothing. He just drives off. I was like, oh, my God. That's where we're at right now.
So let me ask you and ask everyone that is in the chat right now. Do you guys believe it is fixable that we can make a run?
I don't know, man. And look, I think, anything's fixable. And the reason why I say that is last year, Indianapolis Colts started 1-5. Ended up 10-6, making the playoffs, winning the playoff game on the road.
Right.
Okay. So with that being said, it's all fixable, right? We just have to, are the coaches going to realize what is ailing us and take the necessary steps to fix it? Look, what was it? I think it was the Super Bowl year for the Ravens. Maybe not the Super Bowl years. I know it was playoff year. They fired their offensive coordinator over halfway through the season.
Right.
And that was a spark plug.
It sure was.
And they made it into the playoffs. Was that their Super Bowl year? I can't remember if it was. I don't think it was
the Super Bowl year.
Either way,
but I do remember them doing that.
None of that matters in the sense of it sparked their offense. They got going and they made it to the playoffs that year for sure.
But Arthur Blank is not willing to do that.
I know he's not, but maybe Dan Quinn is. That's the point I'm making.
But who? Okay. Why didn't Dan Quinn give the job to Matt LaFleur in the first place? Because he's the only one to me close enough that can run Kyle Shanahan's
I was
offense.
thinking about that other. So somebody, I want to give credit to who made this comment because somebody brought that up in chat. If you're still in here, throw me your name down at the bottom. But he made the statement that that Thomas Dimitroff didn't feel like LaFleur was ready to be an OC. I think that was a mistake. Full on. If Dan Quinn wanted to continue to run the Shanahan offense, you should have just promoted LaFleur. Taken your lumps, because you probably would have, with him never calling plays before. Taking your lumps, but, where would you be now?
Let me ask you a question.
Yo.
How many touchdowns did Aaron Jones have for the Green Bay Packers in that game?
Why you want to bring that up?
I'm bringing it up for a reason. I'm bringing it up for a reason.
All right. He had 4.
Exactly. How many did Devontae Freeman have in 2015 against the Dallas Cowboys in that game?
I'm going to limb and call 4?
Exactly.
Okay.
So if he's not the one close enough to run Kyle Shanahan's offense, if that doesn't tell you enough right there that this guy understands, a guy that spent a season under Sean McVay who runs a similar system to Shanahan, tweaked it a little bit with the Redskins because they kept Shanahan's playbook, okay? Him and Jay Gruden.
Correct.
And they just tweaked it some. So you let this guy go off, and they are currently sitting at what now? 4-1?
4-1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You brought up a name that I thought was interesting. So let's go down a rabbit hole for just a minute. Just a minute. Because we got plenty of time to pontificate on all this throughout the season. So say, end of the season, we fire Quinn. We clean house. What would you feel about having Jay Gruden as offensive coordinator?
I would love him as an offensive coordinator, not as a coach.
I don't want him as a head coach.
When he was with Andy Dalton.
That's what I was going to bring up.
Andy Dalton was the reason for losing them playoff games, not Jay Gruden.
No.
Jay Gruden called masterful games for Cincinnati Bengals. Okay. I would love him to be here as an offensive coordinator, but it would depend on the head coach.
Yeah.
I think
myself, I would like a head coach that was maybe kind of like a Mike Tomlin or a John Harbaugh-esque in the sense of I would like a special teams coach. I don't want necessarily a coach that is almost like an Aaron Lynch out in the Chargers. Not that Aaron Lynch is not that the Chargers are lighting it up or anything, but a coach that is not rooted in offense or defense, but who is rooted in dealing with the entire team.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? Because a special team coach is rooted in dealing with offensive players and defensive players because he just gets a mix. So I would like just a strong special teams coach And then a crazy pairing. Y'all, the chat's finna blow up because they're already blowing up about Jay Gruden. But what about if you paired Jay Gruden with Rex Ryan?
You know what? The only reason I feel like Rex Ryan did not get the job because he did not fit the philosophy of what Arthur Blank and Tom
I
Pritchard
agree.
wanted.
I don't want him as a head coach.
Yeah.
I don't want Rex Ryan as a head coach.
I would love him
I'm
as
talking
a
about just
defensive
as a
coordinator,
DC.
and I think those would be perfect pairings. The problem is we got this on our wish list, but we have no head coach.
Yeah, well,
at the helm.
yeah. I ain't went through and looked and found my fantasy special teams coach, but people keep throwing up Trap Frankenstein keeps saying Kirby Smart. Smart is not leaving UGA, and for the folks who want a college coach to make the transition to the NFL, I don't think that tends not to work.
I don't think Arthur Blank is even going that direction after trying Bobby Petrino. Don't curse me out about that. Yeah, I know that's curse words to a lot of you guys. I don't think he's going that route.
No,
again.
I don't think so either. And I think this time around, since we're talking about it, because right now we really ain't got nothing else to talk about. I don't think he's going to go with a first-time head coach. He's done that twice in a row now,
right?
With Mike Smith and Dan Quinn.
I think it will.
I think it's going to be a retread.
Experience this time.
I think it's going to be the names that are getting batted around right now are Mike McCarthy and everybody's favorite Josh McDaniels.
Right.
I don't know if you're going to be able to pry Josh McDaniels out of New England unless you give him total control like what Belichick has.
And Arthur Blank may be willing to do that. He
might be.
I mean, he did it for Dan Quinn, who
over the 53
this was his
man.
first season.
Yeah, he gave him the control of the 53 man.
Right.
But you remember now, Belichick is like the GM up there.
He is
too.
the man. Right.
Right. Like he answers to nobody but Kraft.
Right.
And I don't think Kraft bothers him.
Yeah.
Like if I had to be real clear, I don't even think.
Well,
Kraft,
Dan don't have to answer to Thomas either. He only answers to Blank too.
Yeah, but I mean, Thomas is still. He has that GM label.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm just. Prince Ward over here says I'll take Josh. I don't know, man. After how he did Indy, I don't know if I want him here.
Oh, you mean yeah. I mean, here's the thing about that. Josh may be feeling like at some point Bill Belichick is going to retire and he can get the job in New England.
I think that's what it is.
Preferably want to be.
Yeah, I think that's what that is. Honestly, if I had to take a stab, I think that's what drew him back, whether they admit it or not ever.
Yeah.
I think that's what brought him back is Belichick told him, hey, look, when, it may be a thing where when Tom retires, Belichick may just be like, all right, I'm out.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And let Josh McDaniels take over then. I don't know.
Well, I mean, right now, I'm gonna say this.
Go ahead.
And I may get cursed out about it, but I'm still going to
cursed
believe in Dan Quinn until he shows me just absolutely he can't get it done before the bye.
Oh, before the bye.
Yeah,
okay. I was about to say, hold on. What has he shown you?
No, I'm just saying, man, because I'm like Arthur Blank, man. I want to believe in this guy that he could somehow turn it around.
Okay.
I just don't know what players he thinks he's going to get out of his pocket to make these personnel changes that he's talking about making, or what Kendall Sheffield. Now, don't get me wrong. Kendall Sheffield has shown some flashes and things, especially on special teams. I'm starting to like what I'm seeing out of him in returning the ball, kickoffs or whatever. We're turning the ball over on special teams, which we're not doing on defense.
I'm going to go ahead and call it. I mean, special teams is getting a little better.
Yeah.
Ben, whatever.
Ben Cutwaker is getting better with how he's managing that group of guys. So I mean, I'm not gonna until we get in this bye week, because it's apparent to me that Arthur Blank is not ready to give up on Dan either.
I don't think even if we go into the bye week and ain't won another game, I still don't think they're gonna cut him loose. That just Arthur Blank doesn't catch me as that kind of person, Yeah,
and he typically would not do something like that unless it just got so horrifying. That he would just have no choice. Yeah. But I don't know, JR, man. We keep getting blown out by teams like we've been doing.
Yeah, I mean, no, you're right. If we keep getting blown out,
he may not have a choice.
He may not have a choice. let's take some more comments. They're coming in. Fred Butt says, I say fire Dimitroff and give Quinn full control. If that includes, if it is the fact that Quinn didn't necessarily want Cutter and that was a Dimitroff thing, then I'm for it.
Yeah.
In that aspect. Let's see. Jimmy Wright says, buy is the key point. Deion Sanders said it in ESPN, and I quote, buy probably means buy in Atlanta. Ooh, yeah. Well, yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Tasman up here said, our new slogan should be play hard or get benched. Hey, I'm down. I like it. Play hard or get benched. If you don't want to be out there on the field, then yeah, let somebody else be out there. Y'all will notice that I tend not to talk about people's money. I try not to bring that kind of stuff up because that's just the nature of the beast. That's, to me, a different side. But yeah, if you're going to get paid that much money, you better try hard.
Listen,
period.
Put me out there, man. I might suffer a few broken bones, but at least I'll be compensated for it.
Look,
I had to lay up in the bed.
Look, I won't be fast or physical, but I will collect a paycheck. That I will do. And I'll try real hard. Oh, let's see. But, okay. All right. We have spent, almost 45 minutes talking crap. Like, talking negative, in a sense, because this team ain't giving us much to talk about. But let's try to find some positives. Name me one positive thing. One positive from
Mohamed Sanu gets his first touchdown.
Hey, there we go. Okay. That's good. Everybody likes Sanu. I like Sanu. Bean talk.
Yeah.
Getting him a touchdown. I like that. I'm glad to see Cutter remembered that he's on the team.
Yeah, he did. He did. The last 2 games, he's actually played pretty well.
Good deal. Okay. All right. So I'm going to give you one. And then I'm going to ask the chat to give us one, okay? So, chat, y'all be thinking about one positive thing that we can talk about, all right? Because if we go too much negative, we're all just going to be like walking off a short bridge, Anyway, so my positive is Grady Jarrett.
Okay.
Grady Jarrett got paid in the offseason.
Yep.
And is, to me, playing harder than he has.
Yes.
So, in that aspect, that's awesome. I'm glad to see that Grady Jarrett and the defensive line, like the middle of the defensive line, is looking real good. So I'm glad to see that. So Ghost Peppers, he agreed with me on Grady Jarrett. Brandon Levy said McGray has played well. Caleb McGarry, okay.
Yeah.
There we go. He has looked good. He's starting to figure it out. You knew you were going to take some lumps with him, but he's starting to put it together, and he's starting to figure it out. Anthony Wright says, start KZ opposite of Trufant. I'm surprised ain't nobody told us to bench Trufant. That's all I saw.
Boy, we definitely watched some touchdowns go over Trufant's
head.
Ooh,
son. I don't know if he's trying to cover for somebody. I don't know what his assignments are. I ain't even trying to pretend like I know. But, yeah, he definitely hasn't looked the same since he's been injured.
That whole secondary is not good.
No, that secondary right now is not playing
But we're supposed to be talking about positive. So let's get back on it. See how easily it is to get off to the negative.
Right. All right, let's see. Okay, somebody else talked about McGarry. Prince Ward said Hooper. We mentioned Hooper last week. That's somebody that they definitely need to make sure to re-sign, definitely. Tasman said even Mad Mike says his videos of Devondre Campbell is a liability. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to sit there and jump on Devondre Campbell. He seems to be getting piled on quite a bit. But he definitely, I felt like having Deion Jones back was going to be a net positive for Devondre Campbell. So far, it hasn't worked out that way. Hopefully, they can get it together before too much longer. All right, somebody give me one more positive. One positive. Oh, come on, Nature Born. One positive. They didn't score 60. You're right. They didn't score 60. I'll agree there. Timothy says, start Grace and watch what happens. I wouldn't mind seeing Grace get some snaps.
And he just might. I mean, right now, Devondre Campbell isn't showing as much to fight for his job.
No, I mean, put Grace in there and see what he can do.
Yeah, let's see what he does. Hey, I got a positive. Calvin Ridley showed up in this game.
There you go. Okay.
He got a touchdown,
he
had
got
88 yards.
Okay, all right. That's a good one. All right, then let's see. Another, no, that ain't positive. Shit. I was going to say something about John Kaminsky, but he didn't even get a snap in this game. So that's not positive.
Nah.
I'm positive that I would like to see him try to start working in the mix, figure out what we got in him. So Fred is over here, says we dominate NFC teams. Well, it's going to start this week. We're playing an NFC team.
Let's do it. It's time to do it right now. It's time to put up or shut up. Time's up.
Yeah.
This is your time. Yep. Right now, Dan Quinn, to turn this thing around. I'm with you. Let's beat these NFC teams.
That's
now.
it, yeah. Win out, beat these NFC teams, put all this doubt behind us, shut all these critics up, and, go on and do something in the playoffs. And, obviously we want to end up in the Super Bowl down in Miami. You do that, and these first, 5 weeks are nobody remembers.
They're in your rearview mirror.
That's it. Well, I think that about wraps it up for us, I believe.
Yeah, as much fun as we're having.
We are having a look. Like, as always, we appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all showing up. We appreciate y'all commenting. For the ones who felt like, throwing us a super chat our way, we really appreciate y'all. That's been huge. That's been a lot of fun to see. We'll be back next Tuesday about this time, about 7:30. And hopefully we'll be talking about a win.
Yeah, let's hope so.
And you see, we got these custom shirts Toby's wife made for us.
Yes, sir.
Supporting. I don't know if any of y'all got some, cancer survivors or not survivors in y'all's lives. I'm sure everybody does. I know that my family does, whether it be close family or God family. So whatever y'all can do there, if y'all feel like it, go ahead. We got shirts, not these shirts per se, but we got shirts that y'all can buy if y'all want. The link will be in the description after this video goes live. And you can catch us, like Toby said at the top of the show, if you missed anything, you can catch this audio on Stitcher, on Spotify, on Google. I've got it submitted to iTunes. Hopefully it gets approved soon and y'all can get it there. And that's all I got. And you got anything else?
Let's go get this win on Sunday.
That's all right. And as Falcons fans, rise up.